Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel R.W.S lesson for kids. So today I'm here with a new video, class 12 ISC Sociology, chapter 1, Social Institutions. So first of all, let me tell you that this video is a one shot video, so I'll not be going too deep in each and every topics. I'll just be touching each and every topics and I'll be moving on to the next. Okay, so it's better if you use this video for just a quick recap for the revision purpose, or just to get a overview of the chapter before attending the lecture in your school. So let's start. What is social institutions? See, social institutions are basically the foundational building blocks of social organizations that coordinate human behavior and meet the fundamental needs of a society. Okay, so basically, for example, uh, for living in a society, we need education, we need rules and regulations, we need moral codes, right? And furthermore, the like emotional support, all these are very important, right? These are needs of a society. Now, to fulfill all these needs, there are some organizations, and those organizations are known as social institutions. For example, for education, we have schools. For laws and rules, we have government, right? And for moral codes, we have religion. Okay, for uh, emotional stability, okay, so we have our families, right? For even for the financial support. So all these are social institutions. Now let's move on to the characteristic of social institutions. First, it's universality. So social institutions are present everywhere in the world, right? You will never find a place where there is no social institutions. Okay, then it's relatively permanent. Absolutely, it's permanent. Religion, education, government, like all these are really permanent. Next is social control. Obviously, if you take the example of government and religion, these social institutions help us for the social control, right? Then abstract in nature. Let's suppose a religion, family. Okay, these are not tangible objects. Okay, you can't put them on museum to show. Okay, these are something that you can feel, okay, and understand. Next is um, institutions are interrelated, obviously. For example, if in a place there is no proper education, so obviously people will struggle with less job opportunities and will result in poor family, right? Next comes social in nature. See, a single person can't create a religion. For creating a religion or family or government, we need a group of people, right? Then only will be able to create all those social institutions, right? Then comes oral and written traditions. So, like for example, in our family, we learn certain things orally from our grandparents, from our own parents, right? And the government have a written rules that we follow, right? So this is all about the characteristics. Next, let's move on to the kinship. First of all, let us understand what is kinship. So the relations or bonds of bloods or marriage which binds people together in group is called kinship. Fine. Now let's see the type of kinships. The first type is affrenal kinship. So the first is affrenal kinship. It's based on marriage, in-laws, and we have no blood relations, right? For example, uh, husband, your husband's mother, father, those are in-laws, right? Next come consanguineous kinship, which is based on blood relations, like your father, mother, siblings, all those. Then comes the degrees of kinship. This is basically the closeness. Okay. So, primary kin, closest family members. So, your family members are your primary kin. It consists of maximum eight uh, members. It's not eight types, it's eight members. Okay. Correct it. So, like your father, mother, your siblings, okay, your grandparents, means like your father's mother and father, all those fall under this primary kin. Yeah, all those members. Then comes secondary kin. These are basically the primary kin of your primary kin. Okay, like related through primary kin. So, like for example, maternal uncle. See, your mom is your primary kin, right? And her brother, okay, like her own brother, is her primary kin. Okay, so her brother is her primary kin, and he is your maternal uncle. So he becomes your secondary kin. Okay, so there can be 33 members in this group. Then comes the tertiary kin, selected through secondary kin. So these are basically the secondary kin of your primary kin. Okay, so like for example, related through secondary kin, for example, like your maternal uncle's wife. So for your mother, it's a secondary kin, right? But for you, it's a tertiary kin. Do you understand? Yes. So here there maximum 151 members can be. Okay, and one more example, it's written here, head of cousins. Well, now let's move on to the descents. What do you mean by descents? So consider it like something moving from a higher position to a lower position, or like let's take it like a generation. Okay, the first generation and the next generation. Okay, now for example, your father and mother's generation, then it moves to your generation. Okay, now in bracket it's like written that it's lineage based, means like in different societies different lineage patterns are followed. Okay, for example, we'll read here in the patrilineal descents. Okay, so like for example, in a patriarchal society, okay, the lineage is in a way that it'll move the properties and the responsibilities and everything in a family will move from a male to a male, means from the father to the son. And in a matriarchal society, that's from the mother to her daughter. Okay, now let's read its features. Defines inheritance and succession. uh, so obviously, uh, it it actually gives you a property right, okay, responsibilities that you have, and everything that you're gonna get from your family. Okay, now next comes regulates marriage rules. Obviously, in different society, we have different marriage rules. Okay, and comes provide social identity. Like for example, if you're from a lower caste, when you're born you're given that identity, okay, that particular status, that you're from a lower caste. Or if you're from a higher caste, so you're given that particular identity, okay. Then gender, okay, either you're a male or a female. Then comes cultural and ritual significance. Like for example, in a patriarchal society, uh, like uh, the your father's sister have a special right, okay, to name the child that is born, okay. And in a matriarchal society, uh, the maternal uncle have a special right to actually take the responsibility of his sister's child, okay. So these are the cultural and ritual significance. So now let's move on to the types. Patrilineal descent means traced through the male lines. I told you already about this, that from the father, the son will get all the properties, all the responsibilities, and everything, all the titles, each and everything, okay. Now, matrilineal descent traced through the female lines, okay, this is the opposite. From the mother, everything and each and every responsibilities, titles, properties, everything the daughter is gonna get. Now the last type is the bilateral descent, traced through both the sides, okay. So basically that child is gonna get everything from like both the sides, okay. Like for example, uh, your father's name is Prashant Roy, and your mother's name is Riya Mukherjee. So you're gonna get both the titles. Like suppose your name is Priyanka Mukherjee Roy. You're gonna get this title, this big title. Okay? So this is all about. And also you're gonna get the all the properties and responsibilities from both the sides. Okay. But in India, there are mostly patriarchal societies, so the first type is followed the most. Okay, but in the southern side, if you see, for example, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, okay, and a bit in Andhra Pradesh, you can see the second type too. Now let's move on to the types of residence. So there are three types of residence. First is matrilocal, female centered residence. This means the spouse move to the female's home to stay, or near the female's home, okay. Means like the married couple, husband and wife, they move on to the wife's house to stay, okay. But in India, we most of the families we follow the second one, which is the patrilocal residence, that the it's male centered residence, because after the marriage females move on to the house of the male, means the house of their husband, okay. This is all about. Then the third one is avunculocal. Here, male's maternal uncle's residence, means after the marriage the spouse move on to the, means the wife will move on with her husband to the husband's maternal uncle's house, okay. In most of the cases, students do mistake here, they just write maternal uncle's house, but you need to mention it, okay, the male's maternal uncle, not the females, okay. Now let's move on to the kinship uses. Now first one is joking relationship, interaction between wife It's not like wife and sister. uh, this is basically, you can correct it. This is basically the interaction between uh, like your like a husband and his wife's sister. Okay. Now, why this relationship is known as a joking relationship, or is called a joking relationship, because these are the relationships where you can be cool. You don't have to be much serious. You can talk related to any topics, even about the sexual matters. Okay. Next comes avoidance, behavioral restrictions between father-in-law and daughter-in-law. Now this is important. See, uh, avoidance means here the father-in-law or the daughter-in-law, okay, these they are supposed to avoid each other. Why? Because if they interact too much, there might be some uh, different kind of relationship which is not socially accepted. Okay. So in that case, they must avoid each other a bit. Even though they are like a family member, they will stay in the same family, but there'll be a bit of avoidance. Okay. Then comes the third one, technonomy, referring uh, through a child's name. For example, Tappu's father. Now, people those who watch Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma, they'll be able to understand this better. Okay. For those who don't, let me tell you this. For example, uh, wait, okay. So, in some societies, taking the name of your husband is like a very disrespectful manner. Okay. So, in that case, the wife indicates, okay, her husband through her child. Okay. For example, if the husband name is Prashant and the child name is Priyanka, so she would say Priyanka's father. Okay, if somebody would ask her where is Prashant bhaiya, so she might say that Priyanka's father is gone for shopping, for the market. Okay, she can indicate like this, but she can't say or can't pronounce the name Prashant. Okay, so this is the thing. Next comes avunculate, authority resting with the maternal uncle. Now, in patriarchal society, uh, there's a culture um, where the mama, means the maternal uncle, have the right, okay, through which, or like he have the authority through which he can like take the responsibility of his sister's child. Okay, this is the thing. Then COVID means father stimulating the role or pain of the mother. So it's basically during the pregnancy, okay, when the father actually mimics the mother, the pregnant mother, or his partner. So basically, co-ed refers to a cultural customs and rituals where a father to be adopts behaviors, dietary restrictions, or taboos associated with his partner's pregnancy and childbirth. Okay, so this is the thing. Next comes amitate, authority resting with the paternal aunt. This is just opposite to the avunculate, amitate. Okay, so here the authority is with your aunt, means the your paternal aunt, means your father's sister. Okay, this is just opposite to the fourth number we just read. Okay, next is the kinship terms, descriptive kinship terms, and the classificatory kinship terms. Descriptive means for example, maternal uncle, and the classificatory like grouping. Okay, for example, consider maternal uncle and just uncle. So in the first, when we say maternal uncle, we are explaining it basically. Okay, we are precising, and when we are saying only uncle, we are grouping. Okay, it can be anything. It can be either your maternal uncle or your paternal uncle. That doesn't matter. Okay, but in the descriptive kinship, we name whether it's your maternal uncle or your paternal uncle. Okay, so the kinship part is done. Let's move on to the marriage. Functions of marriage. Establishment of the family, it's quite clear. Intellectual stimulation means thinking about new topics like how to manage a family, how to grow children, and everything. Okay, then regulation of sex life, then social solidarity, reproduction and legitimation of children, economic cooperation, emotional support. So this is really clear these points. Okay, now let's move on to the second. Yes, rules of marriage. Now this is something which is again very important. You need to go through with these points really well. So the first one, exogamy. So the first one is exogamy, and the second is endogamy. See, exogamy means out and endogamy means in. Remember it, okay? And also you can remember it like exogamy means like different and endogamy means within or the same. Okay, like for example, uh, in earlier times, we were not people were not allowed to marriage in the same, like within the same gotra or in the same village. Okay, but nowadays it's not like mandatory, but before it was followed. Okay, so this is known as exogamy because you're not allowed to marriage a person from the same gotra or some same village. Okay, so you need a different person from a different village and from a different gotra. This is something is out from your group. Okay, next is endogamy. This is the opposite case, like within your caste or within your tribe, within your varna. Okay, this is still, I would say it's still maintained. Okay, in some societies, like we are not allowed to marriage in a different caste. Okay, we are supposed to marriage in the same caste, then same tribe. Okay, so these are the example. And also like the varnas. Okay, then comes your cousin marriage. The first is cross cousin marriage and then the parallel cousin marriage. In the cross cousin marriage, you marry your uh, father's sister's child or your mother's brother's child. And in the parallel cousin marriage, you marry your father's brother's child or your mother's sister's child. I hope you're able to see the difference. Here in the cross cousin, fathers and sisters, so there's different gender, okay? Male, female, okay? Mother and brother, different gender. But in the parallel, you could see that there is same gender. Father and brother. Your father is a male and your brother, like the brother, means your uncle, is a male. Same goes for these. Your mother is a female and her sister is also a female. Okay. Next comes levirate. Okay, so the widow marrying the the deceded husband's brother. In some societies, it's followed. Okay, basically, when the husband is died, so the wife is the wife used to marry her husband's brother. Okay, and the like opposite is surrogate, widower marrying the deceased wife's sister. So basically the wife is dead, and now the husband, the widower, is going to marry his wife's sister. Okay, next is hypogamy. What is hypogamy? Marriage with lower social status group. And hypergamy is the opposite, marriage with higher social status group. For example, if you're from a lower caste, from a lower level, if you, and you're marrying a man who is like from a bit higher status, a higher caste in a society, so your marriage will be considered as hypergamy. And if it's the opposite one, then that will be hypogamy. Okay, and it's done. Then comes the forms of marriage. The first one is monogamy, marriage with a single partner. This is quite easy to understand. There'll be one wife and there'll be one husband. Okay, and the next one is polygamy, multiple spouses. Now there are two types of it: polygamy and the polyandry. Polygamy means one man and many women. Polyandry means one woman and many men. Okay, this is all about. Now let's move on to the family. This is the last one, the family. Okay, features of the family: sense of responsibility among members. Obviously, it's clean, it's clear point of it. Now, social regulations, as you guys have learned in class 11, that the family is the primary agent of socialization. Okay, so obviously it teaches us about like the thank yous and the sorries, when we should say thank you and we should say sorry, and all everything, the regulations, the social regulations which are needed to, like, learn, are all taught by our families. The next is universality. Obviously, every place there is a family. Okay, next, nuclear position. This means family. This also means that family is the primary agent of socialization, because after a child is born, okay, everything, each and everything is started from the family. His or her education. Okay, okay, then each and every habit that the child learn is from the family. So family is very important. Okay, so this is a nuclear position. Then persistence and change. This means like the continuity of identity. Your family name, shared history, and the legacy persist through generations. Then the fundamental beliefs, traditions, and cultural heritage are passed down, right? Providing a stable foundation, right? Then the basic human needs for belongings, like the emotional connection and the safety. Okay, all these things. And the change means the structural change or the structural shift, like fading away of this joint family system, and nowadays we can see a lot of nuclear families, right? Then the change in the authority pattern. Okay, and also the family are trying to adjust to modern realities, including geographical distance. Okay, dual career, like the households. Okay, and the integration of technology into daily communication. Okay, so this is all about. And then the its limited size. It's here it's talking about the nuclear families. Okay, nowadays families are in very small size. We have less members, right? Then the emotional basis. Okay, Then the educative role. These are quite clear to understand. Now let's move on to the functions of family. Reproduction and procreation. Okay, this is clear. And then transmission of culture, obviously, from our grandparents and from our parents. Agent of socialization that I told you. Okay, status ascription, then affectional function and economic function, like economic support for each other. Okay, then the recreational function. This means the, like, entertainment. Okay, before uh, we get entertainment by talking with our siblings or with our cousins, even with our grandparents, but nowadays it's handed over to YouTube, right? Yeah, we get entertainment and everything from YouTube and from social media, but before it was from the family. So this is all about other point are really easy to understand. Next is type of families: consanguineal families and the conjugal families. The first one is the family of origin, and the next one is the procreation. Means this the family of origin means your own family where your father and mother stays, and the conjugal the is the family that you have after marriage. Okay, see, these are very small notes, so basically for the revision purpose. So I want you to actually write the differences of this particular thing, like consanguineal and the conjugal, then the matriarchal family, patriarchal family, nuclear and the joint family. I want you to actually write all this in a proper form. Okay, now next is matriarchal family. This means each and every important decisions are taken by the woman. Okay, by the means the eldest woman of the family. And in the patriarchal, each and every important decisions are taken by the eldest men in the family, right? And also the property rights and everything are passed on to a female in the matriarchal family, and in the patriarchal family it's passed on to a male. Then next is the nuclear and joint family. I hope it's clear. Nuclear means like small family. There'll be less number of members, and in joint family there'll be a lot numbers of members. Okay, this is all about. Okay, now structural changes in the families, disintegration of the joint families. Quite easy to understand. Okay, the joint family system is fading away, and there's a rise of nuclear families, which is the second point. Rise of the nuclear families. Okay, these are the structural changes in the families. Okay, reduction in family size, again the same thing. Okay, the number of members are decreasing. Okay, before there were like 20 members in a joint family, let's suppose. Okay, but now there are only 4 to 5 members, because nowadays people are creating the nuclear families, right? The last one is change in authority pattern. Before, the eldest man or the eldest woman of a family used to take all the important decisions. Okay, they are like dominating member. There's a single person who dominates. But nowadays, in modern society, members are independent. Okay, members are really independent and they take each and every decisions together. Okay, they feel free to, like, suggest anything. Okay, then the fifth one is functional change in the family, decline in economic function. So, like before, in the joint family, as there were many members in the family, everybody used to support each and every member. Okay, whether it's financially or it's emotionally. Okay, so there was a, like, economic support, a financial support. But nowadays, it's a bit less, right? Because they stay away from their family. Okay. Next, reduction in the educational function. Before, the education was handed over to the family members, right? Like the basic things, like the A B C D and everything, the basic thing that children used to learn. They used to get those education from the family, but now it's handed down to the schools or the tuition teachers, because nowadays parents are not getting time to sit with their children, and there is no grandparents with them, there's no siblings with them. Okay. There's no cousins with them who can actually sit with them and teach them. Okay. So this is all about something which is very sad, but this is very important. Okay. Because people are moving from their own families, from their own place, for the job opportunities, even for like better education of their children. So these are the reasons basically. Then is decline of productive function. Okay. The same thing, like the economic protection, and also you can add like uh the eh, the the medical protection. Okay. Then like before, in the families, when any of the member falls sick, so they get the treatments, okay, and the medicines from the family only. Okay. There is no like a proper medical or healthcare system, so everything was means accessible from the family itself. But nowadays we have a lot of hospitals, like, okay, there are a lot of doctors, right? Next one is change in the socialization function. Okay. now now this particular function is also handed down to schools and YouTube. Okay. Then decline in recreational function. This is already, I told you about that, this point. Change in authority pattern. This I told you already. Then change in the marriage regulation functions, means like before, people were not allowed to get means married to a different religion. Okay. Like for example, Hindu Muslim marriage was not allowed. Okay. But now in modern days it's allowed. Okay. Even it's legally accepted. Okay. So this is all about the marriage regulations are also changing. Yes, this is things. And like nowadays, even the like children, the members are actually allowed to choose their own partners. They are more free, but before it was not that easy. Okay. And the factors responsible, I guess I told you all about all this: urbanization, industrialization, education, individualism, then legal reforms, economic factors. I hope these are understandable. Okay. Now the last one is like, okay, let me tell you once. Urbanization and industrialization means like the people are moving from the rural area to the urban areas for better education, okay, better jobs, okay, all this. And then the legal reforms, like I told, the Hindu Muslim marriage was not allowed before, but now it's accepted legally. So like they are able to do it even when their parents are not accepting the relationship, but as it's legally accepted, they're able to take the decision, right? Then the economic factor, obviously, like if you're not getting better jobs in the rural area, obviously you have to move to a city or a urban area where you will be getting proper employment, okay, at least a proper job to earn money. This is all about. Then the last one is small family norms. In a small family, there is like 1 to 2 child. Okay. Then better education and health. of everybody in each and every member, equal attention to everybody and the children too, and also equal resources, economic stability, yes, obviously, less population pressure on society, right? So this is all about the chapter. I hope it's clear. Thank you so much for listening to me for this much long time. This is all about chapter and it's done, clean, clear. And I hope this video will help you for the revision purpose. So, yep, take care and bye bye. Keep studying too.